So I wanted to, I guess, give this video an intro. I mean, at this point, repairing or replacing the battery in a Pixel 4, nothing new. Okay, so I recorded the video actually maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I just never posted it. But since then, a few things have happened, and I wanted to talk about those before we got into the actual battery swap. I'll try to include at least one or two timestamps. That way you can bypass this if you need to. But what I wanted to mention is the fact that some legislation was recently passed in the state of New York. One of the main initiatives of Louis Rossmann, who is a YouTuber, but bigger than that, he's a huge advocate for right to repair. He has made a business essentially just out of repairing MacBooks because Apple makes their products in a way that they seem to break relatively easily, and he charges a lot less than Apple would, or he's able to actually fix individual components instead of replacing an entire motherboard or telling the customer that you just need to buy an entirely new computer because there's nothing that they can do. So he's really good at what he does. And unfortunately, legislation that recently passed gives the perception that something was actually done. So I'm not going to discuss the entire video. I'll leave a link to it down in the description. But the biggest thing, or I guess the summation of it is, yes, legislation was passed, but legislation was passed so that repair programs that were already in place are in compliance with that legislation. So essentially, Apple, Samsung, I'm sure other companies, are doing whatever that they are currently doing. They then lobbied to the governor of the state of New York to say, hey, customer safety. We can't, allow the customer to do these things because it'll be dangerous if the customer does it on their own. And the end result of that is, a watered down piece of legislation that had originally passed the other branches of the state legislature. And now you end up with, in Lewis's opinion, and after hearing him reading the specific sentences that really dilute the bill, a piece of legislation that really doesn't do too much. So yes, some of these companies already have their quote unquote repair programs, but they really aren't as beneficial as they would seem. And as a result of this legislation being passed so that those repair programs are in compliance with this legislation, the legislation itself also isn't as good as it seems. So that's the first thing that I wanted to mention. The second thing I wanted to mention, and I'll maybe try to combine these, when it comes to the concern for customer security or customer safety when opening these products and repairing these devices. Yes, these big companies will say, well, we want to make sure that our customers are safe. Okay, now this right here is the finished product. I've already swapped the battery out. It's working. It's good to go. Face ID or Face Unlock works. So yeah, we're good to go. But the issue is when it comes to the, I guess, quote unquote safety of these consumers, the companies are doing things to make it so that if I do make a mistake, yes, I might be in danger, but there are things I could do to minimize the likelihood of making that mistake. First thing, just getting into the phone normally is a lot. If you stick around and watch the entire video, you'll see that the battery in this particular Pixel 4 had already began to swell, so therefore the back panel had actually already started lifting. I'm having a hard time focusing on that. So the back panel had already started to lift. So therefore I was able to easily slide a tool around to break the remaining adhesive. We were good to go. Are there ways that these phones could maintain their water resistance ratings while making it so that it doesn't seem like it's almost impossible to get into the phone? Absolutely. But that is one thing I can imagine a company would claim as well. It's not safe for the customer to open the phone, so we need to do it for them. All right, well, make a better way for me to get into the phone. I don't have a solution right now because, glue seems to be the thing, but of course with glue comes the more difficult processes to actually get into the phone, so forth and so forth. So that's one thing. So just getting into the phone, yes, that is hurdle number one. Hurdle number two, still talking about adhesive, is yes, batteries can explode. They are not the safest thing in the world, but if handled responsibly and disposed of responsibly, then yeah, for the most part, they're good to go. Now, when it comes to getting the battery out of this phone, there was a lot of glue holding it down. So if you stick around and see everything, you'll see that there are 3 pull tabs to try to break the adhesive that's holding the battery to the phone's frame. I wasn't able to use them as they should be able to be used. Yes, I pulled them a little bit. One of them broke almost immediately. The other 2 did allow me to pull for a bit, and after pulling for a little bit, I was actually able to get some room underneath the battery to safely pry it out. But yes, again, adhesive, something that makes it difficult for us to either open the phone or remove certain components. And by making it difficult to do that, yes, it now makes it a little more less safe. But it's the manufacturer that's doing something to the phone so that, yes, it is hard to do it. Now it's unsafe, but I'm sure there's something they could do to make that process a little bit easier. We did have removable batteries in phone for a while when the back panels just popped off. I don't know why batteries couldn't still be installed in that same manner. Even if you decided to glue the back panel on, making it so the battery just kind of clicks into place. Screws in a smartphone, maybe. I'm not going to say that's a bad idea because we definitely have screws holding batteries in laptops. So yes, make the process easier for me to be able to remove the battery so that way it's not a safety concern. The next thing I'll mention deals with quality of parts. So I know that that's another concern for these big manufacturers. Well, there are a lot of third-party parts. They may not be made to the highest specifications, and as a result of that, safety concern. Okay, got it. Now, I will say that, Samsung, Apple, they both appear to have programs that allow you to buy batteries for their devices. And I'm not going to go into details as to what issues are inherently there with both of their programs. But for Google, since this is a Pixel, it would have been nice if I could have gone to Google's website or the Google Store website, or I don't know, some website that Google owns to get a genuine OEM battery from them, probably pay a little bit more, and then that be it. I wouldn't want to have to purchase a screen with the battery. I wouldn't want to have to contact Google after the fact to confirm that the battery that I've purchased for this device is the device that it's actually going in. Just allow me to buy the part and then let me do the rest. Even if it were a few more dollars, I think I paid about $11 for this battery. I would have been, all right, well, $15 for a genuine battery from Google that I know is going to work as it should. Cool, I'll buy it, no problem. Full disclosure, after installing the battery and using it for a couple of days, this battery is not good. I don't know if it's a result of its age or just poorly manufactured, but fortunately, I did not plan on using this phone as my main device, so therefore, it is. I'm okay with it dying in less than a day since it's not my main device. And in fact, I reached out to the seller on eBay and they've already given me a refund. So I'm not too upset about it. But yes, if I could have bought or purchased a genuine OEM battery directly from Google, I would have paid a few more dollars for it. So making the parts available in an affordable manner is part of the entire right to repair movement. And certain companies are doing everything that they can to make it so that that just isn't the case. And the last thing that I'll mention, talking about the entire life cycle of this process. So once I get the old battery out of this, even though I've already removed it from this particular device, what do you do with it? On the back of the battery, there's a little icon telling you, don't put this battery in the trash can. You should dispose of it properly. Okay. So I will say that Best Buy used to accept old batteries and allow you to recycle them there. I think as a result of cost, I can imagine they are no longer doing that. The people at Best Buy directed me to one of the stores that was literally just across the parking lot that sells batteries, and of course they also recycle batteries. But that particular store's policy is if the battery is damaged, which yes, if the battery is damaged, there is a certain way that the battery needs to be disposed of, but that process is not cheap. So therefore, they pass that fee on to the customer that's dropping the battery off. So essentially, you go into the store, you say, hey, I have this battery I want to dispose of. They say, okay, is it damaged? And you could clearly tell from the one that I was giving them that it was, since it was swollen. Great, that'll be $15. But what? I'm giving you this battery and $15? Doesn't quite make sense. So in terms of the entire life cycle of this process, I guess it's important to figure out a way to make it affordable to dispose of these used batteries. So whether they're intact or not, paying $15 to get rid of a battery kind of seems to be a bit much. So at some point, yeah, that the circle needs to be closed. Okay, battery is in the phone. It's going to die at some point. It needs to be easily replaced. New parts need to be accessible. Then the old battery needs to be properly disposed of in an affordable manner. So I know at the beginning of this video I said I was going to include this at the actual beginning of the the actual disassemble. Seeing that it's now 11 minutes long, I think this is just going to be a standalone video. So without further ado, I'm going to cut this one short. The battery swap video for the Pixel 4 is going to be up simultaneously with this one. So if you're interested in that one, by all means, go check it out. But this was just my little rant when it comes to doing everything with this Pixel 4. So like I said, it works, but the battery life on it is not good. And I would say if I were able to purchase a genuine OEM battery directly from Google, pay a few more dollars, I would definitely do that. So without further ado, thank you very much. And this has been my few cents when it comes to this entire repair process that we are dealing with here in 2023. Today is January 1st.